Hi Leo, I hope you're doing well. Leo, this is early in the morning for me, okay? And you're the first video that I'm recording today. So I still need to kind of wake up a little bit, but hopefully that will happen as the video goes on. At least there's actually light in this video because the last 3 videos I just recorded and uploaded, I had to do them in the evening. So it was quite dark in those videos, but I've managed to find some time to do a recording in the daytime. So sorry for the glare on my glasses. I just couldn't be bothered to put my contact lenses in. Okay, so Leo, there's no dates on these readings, so whenever the message finds you, if it resonates, then that's great. There's no restrictions on dates or times. You can reverse the roles and the energies that I'm reading. So if I'm interpreting one side as you and you're relating more to the other side, that's absolutely fine. Just swap and reverse them however you need. It's just easier if I channel the message in one way from one perspective, otherwise it starts getting really confusing. And then obviously these are general messages, so hopefully there's something in here for you, but please don't try and force the message to fit. If it is resonating with you truly, then that's great, and I hope that there's some guidance in here that might help you out, but don't try and force it to fit, because then you might just be getting misinformation and we don't want that. So wakey wakey, wake up, wake up. I'm sure I'll wake up as the video goes on. Okay, Leo, which deck do I want to use for you? This one. Fairies always want to keep coming out at the minute. Whoa, okay, too many cards. Clearly they wanted to come out. Okay, I'm not going to take all of those because that was a bit too much for first thing in the morning, right at the start of the reading. So, card for Leo, please. That's so weird. I mean, that card didn't jump out, but it kind of it misplaced itself in the deck. And this was actually the card that was on the top of the deck before I picked it up. This was the card that it was actually sat on. A collective of pixies. Hold on, I just want to get one more. I usually start with just one, but I kind of want to get a second one to go along with that one. There we go. Whoa, okay. Just that one, please. Okay, so we have Indy as well. Okay, so this is sort of coming through as Leah, there's a project or an endeavor, let's say, that you are collaborating on with a group of people, and you feel like you're putting far more focus into it than whoever this group of people is here. This doesn't have to be work, it could be family, it could be friendship. Maybe you're planning a trip with some friends and they're not really pulling their weight as much as they should be, or perhaps it's a work environment where it's meant to be equal sharing of the workload, and you seem to be putting far more into it or far more focus than other people. Or, as I say, if it's family, if it's an emotional relationship, you feel like the one who's putting all the investment in, because you see how he's just focusing on this huge orb here, and then there's this smaller one in his hand. Like these people here, they're coming across as very just sort of carefree. They're not taking it as seriously as you are, Leo. So however this applies, I'm sure we'll sort of get more as the reading goes on. But ultimately you're feeling frustrated because, as I said, it's whatever it is that this orb is representing for you, Leo. You know, it could even be that, you know, a placement within a friendship group and you're not necessarily feeling a part of it as much as you'd like to be. Okay. I feel like that's what's starting to come through now. Sorry, it always starts quite general, the messages, and then sort of as we sort of like move along, it kind of like funnels down and it starts getting more and more specific. But there's definitely a dynamic of you feeling frustrated in this group of people, or emotionally upset, left out. Something about you is giving far more than whatever that collective of pixies represents for you. So take that however you will. But we're going to get some more now anyway. Let's get some more of the story, Leo. Whoa. Temperance. It's funny because these two cards actually look incredibly similar, don't they? So what was I saying? I was starting to say that there's something about, in fact, actually, they look so similar to the point of, she's got wings here, obviously, because it's the Angel of Temperance. And Indy has these wings down here as well. Do you see how, like, solemn they look? God, there's just so much similarity. But what was I saying about you pouring far more into it than whatever this represents for you over here? Because we literally have this angel pouring this cup. And then we have Indy holding this weight, this globe. And I was starting to say that it feels like you're much more emotionally invested or much more creatively invested in this dynamic than the others. And I do want to say that you are overgiving in this situation, Leo. And there's a need for you to temper that and start to pull it back a little bit, because if you don't do that, these individuals over here are going to kind of take the piss a little bit, and you kind of, that's what you're seeing right now. You're seeing, you know, they just don't really, they're not pulling their weight. They don't really seem to be taking any of their responsibility seriously. Perhaps they're not getting things done on time if it is a work situation or a creative endeavor, as I was saying, because obviously we're dealing with like water here, and we're dealing with, you know, this almost like a seeing globe. So it's almost coming across of like a creative endeavor that perhaps, you know, you're working on with a group of friends, so you're emotionally tied to them. It's like a very close-knit, you're usually like a close-knit group, okay? So it's not coming across as sort of a work environment where you know, you're all there because you know, you're paid to be there. It's kind of like a group of friends or a group of creative artists that are all kind of coming together and collaborating. And perhaps they're just not taking it as seriously as you, and because of that, you're not seeing the progress in the project or the creative endeavor that you're actually wanting to see. It's kind of like Indy's over here saying like, come on guys, like we should have had this cracked by now, or we should have gotten much further in our progress with this. And they're just, like I say, not taking it as seriously. And so there's this need for you to pull back, which is kind of hard because obviously you're a Leo, right? You're fixed fire. So, you know, with all that fire, you can end up being incredibly passionate, or you are incredibly passionate about things that you put your time and energy in. And because you're fixed fire, you're a steady energy, okay? It's not like an Aries, which is like a cardinal fire, which starts things up but then can't pull them to the finish end, the finish line. You know, you're fixed. Therefore, you create your own sustenance. You can keep going. You can sustain that passion. You can sustain that fire, that creativity. where other people might maybe get excited at the start and then not be able to pull through and finish it, and that's kind of what's happening here. But the thing is, Leo, you can't do this all on your own. There's a reason why you all came together to collaborate, because there's something that each of you brings to this. There's something that each of you brings that creates the whole and will create the final project, the final product in the way that it's meant to be born. So you kind of have to pull back, you have to temper all this creativity that you're pouring into it, all these divine ideas, divine inspiration. You have to pull back a bit, Leo, and not take center stage with this. And I'm not even saying that you're kind of being overbearing, because you're not. You are wanting everybody to pull their weight and to contribute to it, but they're just kind of, as I say, they're not kind of taking it seriously enough. Sorry, I'm just looking to see if I want to use a different deck, the next card. Let's go with the spirit animals. I haven't used this deck in ages. So let's see what comes out. The spider. What was I saying? It's like many parts that make the whole. And this is you in the center here, Leo. It's like you're kind of feeling in this position where you're trying to like pull all the strings, but not pull all the strings because you want to be in control of this necessarily. You're kind of like the only thing that's keeping together all these different elements. You're like the point of contact, or the central energy that everything's kind of being pulled towards. You're the one that's having to like pull each of these individuals to pull their weight. You're kind of like the puppeteer. You're like, right, you know, you need to do this, right? You need to do that part. You are taking a leadership role in it. But as I was saying, this particular situation isn't meant to play out like that. Like, it might be like that in certain work environments, but this isn't meant to be like that. This is meant to be a group and a collective effort. Because as I was saying, each one of these individuals that you're working with, they bring a specific ingredient, okay? So think of it like this, you know, when you're baking a cake, you have to have all the different ingredients to make the final product, right? Because each ingredient is crucial to what comes out at the end. Which is why I'm saying that if you're the only person that's pulling all the strings, it's not going to come out the way that you want it, the way that you are envisioning it. Because each one of the individuals that is a part of this team, this group collective, represents one of these colours, like the colours of the rainbow. And if the Leo is the only one that does this project, you know, it's not, it will still be, you know, it would still be beautiful. I'm not saying that it wouldn't, but it wouldn't have the same stamp that it will if every single one of these individuals starts putting their own mark on it. So I kind of feel like we need to kind of figure out how you're actually going to achieve this. It's just all the same stuff that's coming through. I know it probably sounds a little bit repetitive, but the cards are just reinforcing everything that I'm saying. Four of Swords. What was I saying about you needing to pull back and temper how much you're actually giving in this? This is a complete card of rest. It's like the cards are just saying the exact same things all over again. You know, it's just reinforcing it. You need to not... The only way to change the behavior of these individuals is for you to take a step back. I'm not saying to walk away from it. That's not what I'm saying at all. And I'm not saying, you know, don't do your part, but stop doing everybody else's work as well. And I know that there's a fear then that if you don't continue with the position that you've taken of being this central sort of puppeteer, there's a fear that the project or whatever it is that you're trying to birth into existence isn't going to it's not going to flourish. It's like Leo's just like, it's not going to happen if I don't take this position, because no one's going to do any work, or no one's going to pull their weight, no one's going to contribute. But actually, that's almost like a subconscious fear that isn't rooted in reality, because actually it's what's actually happening is because you're taking that stance, that is what's causing people to sort of rest on their laurels. If you sort of pull back and don't be this puppeteer, as although that's a fear within you, Leo, that's like, okay, this isn't going to happen if I don't take this sort of, I don't want to say controlling, but you know, this puppeteer kind of rallying stance. Actually, what will happen is everybody will start to pull their weight and everybody will start to contribute. They're almost like riding on off of your energy. They're like, oh well, you know, I know that the Leo's just gonna kind of like remind me to do that, or you know, they'll do this bit for me, or something like that. But by you actually pulling back your energy and taking a firm stance of like, no, I'm only going to cover my area of this situation, what I need to do, you guys can sort the rest out for yourselves. That's what's going to kickstart them. That's what's going to sort of push them into gear that they need to be in. I think one more card. I mean, it's all just kind of saying the same things, really. Let's see if we can get just a little bit more, something a little bit different to add to this to finish it off. Oh. Okay, Page of Pentacles, Two of Cups, and the Fool. I love these cards. Ooh, they're just so freaky. I love them. So what was I saying about this being an emotional sort of creative project, right? The Two of Cups is that it's that energy of equal give and take between individuals. Okay, it's not necessarily romantic. Like I was saying, this feels more like a friendship group, or people that you're emotionally tied to, or family, whatever it be, that are sort of coming together to contribute to something that they're trying to birth into existence, right? Because the Page of Pentacles is that first step to creating something. He's like the apprentice, right? He's not yet achieved the status of the king, but that's what he's, you know, working towards. And the King of Pentacles is someone who is established, right? They're an entrepreneur, they're a businessman, or they are involved in something that provides them plenty of pentacles, i.e. material success, right? Which is why I'm saying this kind of feels like a creative endeavor or a business project or something like that that you're all collaborating on. And you've got the Page of Pentacles and the Fool, which is two brand new, like fresh start energies. So this it feels like this thing is relatively new. Like it's in its early stages, and the two's actually really standing out to me for some reason. So, you know, this could even be sort of like something that's been ongoing for 2 months, something that's been ongoing for 2 years even, because 2 years, you know, say if this was a band, for example, that you guys have started, just for an example, you know, 2 years is still extremely early days. Like it's, you know, it's actually not that long of a length of time, really, just for an example. Because we also have the two fish here, as well as the Two of Cups. That's why I'm kind of being drawn to the two. And maybe that's why you're feeling a bit frustrated, because you kind of feel at this point like something should have happened, or you should have made much more progress than you're actually seeing currently. But the message here is, you know, pull back, but still remember that this is a Two of Cups. Like ultimately, all of you have agreed to come together and to create and bring into existence something, because you're all vibing on the same level. And although it might not feel like that currently, because maybe, like I say, frustrations are starting to build on your part, you know, there's a need for you to like not fall out with people, and not, you know, you kind of need to go about it in a way that still retains the peace and still helps you remember that these people are actually, you know, your friends, or they are your creative partners. So even if you're getting frustrated, you know, just kind of have an open and honest discussion with them. Don't channel the frustrations onto them. Instead, the way that you're going to achieve this much more successfully and much more in balance is to just pull back gently, and it's like the rest will kind of take care of itself. You don't need to do too much other than do that. Just sort of rein in how much you're sort of over contributing, because it is still early days and there's still plenty of time for this to flourish, okay? But just remember, you do have the Two of Cups here, so it's actually an extremely conducive, and you know, it will come into much greater balance moving forward if you do that, which I just mentioned. Kind of feels like it wants to end there. Yeah. Well, I hope that that was quite specific, to be honest with you. And it was kind of just saying the same stuff, but I don't know, hopefully that was helpful for someone out there. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that, Leo. I'm sure that wasn't for everyone, but hopefully if there wasn't anything in there for you, that there'll be something in the next video for you, Leo. And I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a lovely day, a lovely evening wherever you are, and hopefully I will see you in my next video, Leo. Mwah, bye.